And I am going to press record here. We're live over there. We're live here. Welcome. This is April the 8th. This is the shot across the bow of our boat by God, the second warning from the sky, from the heavens, that we as a nation need to repent. Go figure. I'm running from anything to do with, the United States. Not the United States of America, but I'm running from anything to do with this corporation. First, if this is the first time you're watching, right now, pick up your phones and go to your app store. And for the Google people, it's Play Store. Okay. And type one word, HISAdvocates, HISAdvocates, and search. You're going to come up with HISAdvocates TV. There won't be another one. You click install, get, and then once you have that, you can put it on your desktop. You want to create reminders for yourself to always watch it. We have perfected the app to be in sync with everything that's on hisadvocates.org, Roku, Amazon, Apple TV, Android TV, Samsung TV, LG TV, and we're forever expanding. And our YouTube account. Our YouTube account, if you are new or just coming on, like, subscribe, follow, click the bell, give us rave reviews, please. We are kind of like a different breed. There's a lot of movements out there, and they, in my opinion, are not telling the whole truth. In some cases, I believe are agents in disguise, and to make a people that are just trying to be in republic look bad. And the federal quote unquote corporation, Homeland Security, FBI, all these different people. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm just saying they really don't want you to know about your freedoms. They really don't. They create these sovereign citizen beware reports. They hand them to all the judges, all law enforcement. They teach law enforcement about these crazy sovereign citizens, people that are just trying to be free. Now, I don't agree with the term sovereign citizen because it's kind of an oxymoron. But I will say that public law determined to create something for United States code that would trick people. And if you were to look at 8 USC 1101, 821, and 22, you'd see the definitions for two words that they constantly use, and that's in this report for the FBI. One of them is national, and the other one is national of the United States. 821 is national. The other one, 822, is national of the United States. Now, national, it says the definition, a person that owes allegiance to a state. So remember, in this nation, in self-governance and per the Constitution, you have a right to private contract. It's the highest form of law there is. And without telling you, they created a corporation called the United States, Title 28, subsection 3002. Its exclusive jurisdiction is in the District of Columbia, 9 UCC 307H. And I can also show people that say the UCC isn't law. I can show you in the United States Code. The point I'm trying to make is your right to private contract happened when they gave you a little benefit of a retirement called Social Security, another benefit of a card in your wallet called a driver's license, and another benefit called a voter's card. And all of these things that one by one, contract by contract, have proven that you're doing what's called holding an office, meaning you have a job. You have a job at the Social Security Administration, you have a job at the IRS. Your job is called at the IRS taxpayer. and you are a U.S. citizen, no, your birth certificate is. You can look at the registered organization under UCC 9. Your birth certificate is the U.S. citizen, and that is the job that's available for you if you want it. The job doesn't come with benefits. As a matter of fact, the job, because it's a job, the statutes, codes, and ordinances go against your ability to have freedom under the articles of the Constitution, the amendments, the First Amendment, Second Amendment, your right to freedom of speech, your right to carry firearms. And you took the lesser right of a U.S. citizen because that's the job you got. You have to, when you got a job, there's policies and procedures that you got to follow in a job. And not only do you have to follow the police, the policy enforcement officer, policy enforcement officer is going to make sure you're doing your job appropriately. If you're on the road, you got a job, it's called the driver's license. You agree to everything. Essentially, it's a trust because you're the grantor is the state, the grantee and the beneficiary is the state, and you're the only guy signing on it. I want my card so I can drive at 16. And isn't that funny? The most important contract of your life, that one, giving away your rights, is at 16. Social Security, the most important contract, it's either being given to me, it was 13. Unconscionable. I mean, I couldn't have possibly known what I was signing or getting into, right? It's not really a contract. These are self-executing trusts. State never countersigned it. They never did anything. They just gave us an opportunity to get a job, and we took it. And so you have all these contracts that I can unequivocally prove bind you. So going back to national of the United States, that public law turned into United States Code to trick you. If you go to the Cornell Law website and you look up 8 USC 1101 and it says a person that owes allegiance to a state. First off, you're not a person. Person is artificial. It can be natural, but even that is artificial, meaning another show. But if you look at the definition on the Cornell Law and you click a person that owes allegiance to a state, in your mind, in California, click on that state and realize it's everything owned by the United States. You can go to the District of Columbia, in your case, if you're a United States citizen. And so, I just got an internet warning. I don't like getting canceled for internet. Anyway, if it shuts down, I'm coming right back up. But the point I'm trying to make is, why would you, as a government, knowing fully that you've taken an oath to uphold, support, protect, and defend the Constitution for the United States, be running down this road of protecting the banks? Oh, that's right. It's because the Congress bankrupted the U.S. corporation. Oh, and it's because the people vacated their seats in the de jure capacity and the corporation picked up in 1871. Not a conspiracy, not a fly by the. These are the laws that they passed. These are the things that went down. The District of Columbia Act, the United States, again, exclusive jurisdiction is in the District of Columbia. So what is outside the United States if the United States exclusive jurisdiction is the District of Columbia? Well, it's the United States of America. It's the 50 several states of the Union. So what we've done basically as a body of people is we've ripped apart the contracts, the trusts, these adhesion trusts, adhesion and trust, meaning self-executing, adhesion meaning small, fine print, not really done in accordance to a full executed, countersigned elements of a contract, offer acceptance, consideration, performance, full disclosure. Adhesion is all that stuff that you never knew you were getting into. Unfortunately, it still counts. I don't care how small the print is. I don't care if there's, things that are thrown in there that you didn't know or didn't really agree to. If you're signing on it so you can get a driver's license, that's the contract. It's actually the self-executing trust. And so what we do in HISAdvocates, and we've done this for 14 years. What we do in HISAdvocates is we help people become free as state citizens. See, Ben Franklin was never a United States citizen. None of our founders were. They were all private citizens, but they were known as New Hampshireites, New Yorkans, or New Yorkers. All the 13 colonies that turned into states. And the word state doesn't even mean what people think it means. The word state in the law is multiple defined in Black's law. You can look at the lowercase, it's a body of people. You look at the capital version of the word state, it's a community of persons. It's showing you right there that the de jure state and the de facto state are different. How do you know that, Kelby? Tell me how you know that. Because, guys, look, you can go do your own work and find this. But my county where I live in Orange County, California, was called Orange County prior to the corporation picking up and changing the name to County of Orange. The Orange County Register, that's what it's called. Started over 100 years ago, knew what the county name was. They called themselves the Orange County Register. And it's the same with every county, municipality, city, everything. Township of Salem, City of Salem. Huntington Beach, City of Huntington. Whatever it is. There's an original de jure name for every city, county, and state. One of the things I love about California is we actually have an 1849 Constitution that was for the people. And it was simple. And if you Google, is the 1849 Constitution still legal today? It's going to say yes. So you look at the 1879 Constitution for California. You would think, hear me out, that it would alter, adopt, amend, abolish something, the original, but it does not. Two constitutions alone, completely separate. One for the people, one for the community of persons. See, a corporation cannot do business with a living man. Corporation United States, corporation state, corporation court. It can only do business with people that are operating the office of the person, the birth certificate, and that say, that's me. I love my job. I am a U.S. citizen, and here we go. Send me to jail. That's what those people are doing, not me. And I really want to bring this home for people because we as a body at HISAdvocates are really trying hard to make people understand the differences and the tricks that are being done to take away your sovereignty. And I do mean that sovereignty. The sovereignty of the king was passed to the state citizen, period. Now, if you're on hisadvocates.org and you click on the top section where it says blogs, there's a lot of people that are posting. This is, by the way, if you go to our website, we're kind of like open to pretty much anything that you post. When you go to the blogs, don't think that we believe every single blog posting that's in there. That's not necessarily our heart. We are just trying to let people have an information for sending information out to people so that they can feel, like they have a place to post and have a voice. And it's helpful. But you're going to see some pretty interesting things. And where is that? Okay, if you scroll about halfway down, and I'm going to put the link for the people that are on Zoom, I'm going to post it here into the comments section. I want you to watch this little short video. Why? Because I vetted it, and I put the proof of the vetting down below, and I put the links to Self versus Ray, RHAY. Here's the net of it. Statute, codes, and ordinances only apply to the elected officials serving the people. Well, if you're elected and you have people working underneath you, it's basically an office position of an elected office. So the people, why they're nailing us is because voters registration, because of IRS, because of, all the adhesion contracts, adhesion trusts. So you look at um, respondeat superior. That's where you can go after somebody of a lower capacity that doesn't have the elected official's office, or he wasn't one elected. But you can go out this guy over here because he's responsible for his whole group of people. So when you hold an office of a driver's license at the state of California, essentially the person that's at the oath, you can go after anybody that has a driver's license because they have a job with the state of California or the state of Arizona. And so, as lame as that sounds to some people, this is a Supreme Court ruling that says the United States and all of their statutes, codes, and ordinances only apply to the elected officials of the United States. So, how do they get you in this box of feeling like that charge instrument belongs to you? So if you got a charge or a warrant or an indictment, how do they get you feeling like you're responsible for that? And it's very simple. These judges are trained professional ping pong experts. Some of them are very good, some of them are horrible. They put them on a stand, tell them that they have control, authority, and they even the background, the Homeland Security and the FBI and all these people will write complete handbooks on how to deal with the people that think that they're not under the authority of a judge. Now, I got to ask you guys, if you live in Brazil, are you under the United States authority? And the answer is no. If you live in anything outside of the District of Columbia, are you under the jurisdiction of the United States? Theoretically, the answer is no. So, how do they gain subject matter jurisdiction? Well, you look at the warrants and the indictments, and you look at how they gained access to being able to create in personam or subject matter jurisdiction, excuse me. And so, when you have subject matter jurisdiction, it's because that person's done a few things to make contracts with the District of Columbia. Hence, my point. You can't write a single affidavit over here and say, I'm free, put it in the public, and then think you're going to be free. It's not a possible, it's not a plausible argument. You have to undo the contracts that put you into the public, into the perspective of being a United States employee, a U.S. citizen, because otherwise you don't have any hope, because they're going to get you 6 ways to Sunday. They're going to find the jurisdiction somehow through a closed bank account, an expired driver's license, something where you signed on saying, yes, that's me. And so what we do at HISAdvocates is we completely unravel the mysteries, these adhesion trusts that bind you and contract you with the state. We completely unravel those. It's not that you don't have to have a driver's license in your wallet, but we use what the state does to you, what the banks do to you, meaning a administrative process to steal your house. It's called a non-judicial foreclosure. Um, they send you a notice of fault. Here, all this paperwork, a notice of fault, a notice of default, notice of sale, hold the sale on the courthouse steps, not in the courthouse, and steal your house, making a new contract. And then they bring, once title's been transferred by the company, they bring you into court under a unlawful detainer, meaning you're not supposed to be in that house and we're going to boot you. Well, that is called a non-judicial foreclosure, and that is done through an administrative process. And we do the same thing to them that they do to us. We literally take through administrative processes and contract with the state. Hold on, I hear We literally take and do like they did a non-judicial foreclosure, we do a non um, where we it's just an administrative under the federal rules of regulation. We default them on the private side, creating a new contract with the notice of opportunity to cure, and a certificate of default. And that is a legit way to create a contract with an entity whereby you're sending these notices to them via certified mail. So, and when you read our driver's license documents and you read our social security documents and you read the IRS documents, one of the greatest things that people start to understand is we're using the law, we're using Supreme Court rulings, and we're using all these things to reverse this process against them. I'm hot right now. I gotta open up this window. Sorry, guys. So we use exactly what they have done to allow for the state citizen to become free. We use that against them, like the revocation of election against the IRS. Believe it or not, I'm going to do a show on this very soon where you can actually understand that right built into the IRS code, there is a revocation of election to remove yourself from the election of paying taxes. Built into the code, built into the Social Security Administrative Code, same thing. Built into, well, there's also ways to do this in the form that we're doing it within respect to the same way they do a non-judicial foreclosure. But we use it all. We use the aspect that they've created these trusts where they are the beneficiary, and we place ourselves as the beneficiary through a new contract. So we can hold the driver's license in the wallet and not be in fear of having our head taken off by a local law enforcement because we don't have a license. And those are some of the questions that people are asking. You know, they ask, do we need car insurance? Do we need all these things? And I'm going to address that in a second. But for you people, you have to realize this is not just legitimate. This is not just fly by the night. When you read our docs, you're going to go, okay, I get it. And amazing. This is a big, humongous thing for all of us to participate on. See, that document that the FBI or Homeland Security puts out about sovereign citizens does not say one thing, not one, about State of the Union citizens. But I have 100 Supreme Court rulings that talk about state citizens, talk about the fact that they are not under the jurisdiction of the United States Corporation, talk about the fact that they are separate and self-governed, talk about the fact that the Bill of Rights does apply to them. Those structures, those people that are trying to cause you to believe that you don't have rights, like the lady who just talked negatively about Christian nationalists who believe that the freedoms and rights don't come from government and that we believe that they come from God, and they're trying to put a label against those believe that the rights come from God. Look, last time I checked when I was born, I wasn't a party to a corporation. That means anything that I had from a rights standpoint was given to me by God. They want you to believe that you're immediately tied to the relationship that you have with your parents because they put it into a law book, or they put it into some code, or they put it into something that pertains to the fact that, um, by the way, an offspring of a marriage is a party to the state, belongs to the state. That is a Supreme Court ruling. So if you have a marriage license and you've got children, this is why the Social Security Administration or the social services has power over your family. But just as a quick note, uh, if you have done nothing wrong, like doctors of newborn babies trying to inject these children with tons of things to help them, quote unquote, as a newborn baby with these vaccines. If you object to that, there are things that you need to understand that we are going to empower you with that work 100% of the time. You do not need to comply with the order of a doctor under the threat of your child being taken from you. I want to help you to understand you can stand up. You cannot, you can have a child outside of a hospital or inside of a hospital and object to the birth certificate. You can do these things. And this is really important for people to get their minds wrapped around. There's lots of people, whenever you stand up for your rights, like I just watched a video of a guy who has a right to open carry according to the state. The city made an ordinance saying he was not allowed to, and he showed them where the law states that the cities are not allowed to make anything that usurps a constitutional right of a citizen, no matter where they are at. He even showed the police chief, showed everybody, and they still went after their statute code and took the dude down. And I understand why, you know, people are going for their rights. People are trying to stand up for their rights, but we have to be smart right now. It took 5 years of court cases, him being in jail, him getting charged, multiple felony counts, 5 years. Police chief fired, him exonerated, money in his pocket. Okay. Those are, praise God, because those are some guys that are out there that are standing up for your rights. You're not realizing, like here in the state of California, it is thought that you are not allowed to have a concealed carry. It is thought that you need to go get permission to have a concealed carry. And I want to tell you, there's a Supreme Court ruling that's already established you're allowed to have a concealed carry firearm in your possession here in the state of California. Why do we fear the Constitution, Article 6, subsection 2? The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Why do we fear lesser laws, statutes, codes, and ordinances? Because of the policy enforcement officers who are going against the actual law and upholding policies. And that's where we need to turn this around. And guys, I'm going to be at the next CSPOA meeting. Please pray for me. I'm going to be meeting a lot of police officers and personnel and shaking their hands and texting, getting phone numbers. I want people to understand that there's true Americans standing up for a republic that are not sovereign citizens. And I want them to understand that state citizenship is absolute in the laws here of the United States of America. And we've had to struggle with the Department of State to issue passports because they want to trick people into jurisdiction. They want to literally change your DS-11 so you're not allowed to do certain things. Trying to pull you into jurisdiction. It's important. It's bad. It's really bad. So, guys, if you have questions, throw them over in the Q&A side, not the comment section, and I will address your questions. And we're going to start with Lisa. First question is, how do I put an inheritance into a trust? I have a lot of questions on that. Number one, if it's just a sum of cash that you're getting, there's several different ways that you can do it. You can just you can donate it to a private humanitarian foundation. When you say the word trust, are we talking registered, unregistered? Who made the trust? What kind of a trust is it? What is your goal in putting it into the trust? Is it to avoid taxes? There's a whole lot of things that I would like to ask pertaining to that one question. So, tax related issues or questions. If you were to start a private humanitarian foundation and you were to donate your inheritance into the foundation, you can discuss your ability to take a deduction on the donation side with your CPA, your accountant. And because it is a private humanitarian foundation, and because your work in your ministry because you're bypassing the corp, you're bypassing the need to pay taxes, you need to consider giving back to the creator who's allowed for you to have that type of entity, but you can control that foundation and still take a deduction over here. There's many a men I can mention and their donations in the billions, who have taken deductions and not had to pay taxes on the other side of their 501c3 humanitarian foundations like Bill Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. There's a lot of examples you could do. If they can do it, you can do it. This whole structure was created by them for them so that they can and Donald Trump is the best at saying this. He's, after being put down by Hillary in one of their initial debates, he said, look, if you want me to pay taxes, change the tax code. I mean, it was a game over. Glasses were thrown off. It's that's just facts. It's just facts. And so the structures that we create do not require you to file a tax return. Do not require you to pay a dime of taxes. And those are structures we've been creating for 15 years now. And you can take money of any kind, a business of any kind. Your life can completely change, and you can run it through the foundation. You can put your home in the foundation. You can make payments with the foundation on your home, even if you have a mortgage or a debt on your home. You can put your car insurance, loss payee, in the name of the foundation and still insure yourself while you travel. There's people out there that don't even use insurance. They use bonds, and those are legitimate ways to self-insure, what have you. But I do have a lot of questions regarding your question. It's not just a blanket answer, but I tried to blanket answer a few different scenarios for you to consider. We can help you out in a structure. If you've got a structure, I'd like to take a look at it, see if it's a unincorporated private structure. I had a guy who came on, said, I don't need your thing. I have a private trust. And I said, okay, can we look at it? And he spent a lot of money setting it up, and it was really a simple thing, and he shouldn't have spent that much money. But nevertheless, we told him where it wasn't private. It was a jurisdictional position within the trust itself of giving jurisdiction over to the state. That is called not private. That is allowing for a state to penetrate it and giving jurisdiction over that state to do whatever they want to do over that trust. So everything in your trust matters. It's not just whether it's registered or unregistered. It's what is its position on the jurisdiction. And so those are important things to take into consideration. Next question, how do I get rid of a loan against my house, car loan, judgment loan for hospital bills and credit card debt? I'm not going to answer that because we're not out there trying to help people get out of debt. Now, that doesn't mean it's not plausible. It doesn't mean there isn't good companies out there working on helping people remove debt. I will tell you this, if you were to go through the Living in a Private program and you put your assets into private trusts, private foundations, and you followed the instructions, none of that would matter, meaning you cannot just not do your you cannot not just do putting your home into a private foundation and expect that you can stop paying on the home. That's not real or legit. They don't foreclose on the deed, they foreclose on the note. But there are people that supposedly are taking down house notes with different debt instruments. I don't do that. I don't recommend that. But there are people that are also doing it without debt instruments. They're just simply finding out who is the holder in due course, and if this guy's not the real party in interest, the Pete, they're able to withstand the foreclosure process against their home. I personally know of a couple of guys that haven't made a payment since 2008, and we're talking 16, 17 years in the same house. Now they're obviously trying to get clear title, but here's the problem: is there's no judge that is ever going to put a case into a position where it could be used later to adjudicate another case. So they're not going to make decisions that are just lay downs. They make it very, very hard for homeowners to have any kind of victories on those types of things. So you're probably asking from the perspective of how do I do a set off or discharge instrument? We don't do those. There's people out there that do those. I made a funny do. Anyway, hospital bills and credit card debt, you can those are all set off. So if you were to walk away from them as a believer, I'm saying this as a believer, I know for a fact those banks have been prepaid, those hospitals get prepaid. Judgment is a prepaid debt. Go look at these definitions. Like if you're in a bankruptcy, you're not you're not getting rid of the debt. Those banks are getting paid through your bankruptcy. These guys have structured in a system. If you knew what system you were in, um, you would seriously think different about the debt. This is why, as a believer, I don't have any issue with somebody walking away from their debt or using a set off instrument or whatever. I just don't teach that or do that. And the reason is I've seen a few people get charged instruments, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, because they do it wrong. They do one thing wrong, and somebody will get pissed and they'll make an example out of 1 out of 100 people and give them an indictment. So I just don't take those positions. So I hope you respect that. Um, do we need to have car insurance? Next question. I personally believe in car insurance. I don't necessarily agree with it. It's price based. I don't agree with many things, but I agree with having car insurance. Now, uh, if you're going to have, and here's the bigger question: do you own your vehicle? If you hold a title or if it's monetized, meaning you got a loan, you don't own your vehicle. Even if you have title, you don't own your vehicle. The instrument of true title is a manufacturer statement of origin, meaning if you're driving around a state vehicle and you have a state driver's license, that's your job. You're driving their car around. You think it's yours. I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people, but the MSO is title. Certificate of title is not title. It's a certificate of the title they hold. As a matter of fact, the MSO doesn't look at anything like the certificate of title, other than it's on bonded paper. That's it. So they are monetizing everything. They're monetizing your signature. They're monetizing cars. They're monetizing your home. If you think you own your home, look at your deed. You're a joint tenant. You're a tenant in common. You're holding a legal description that's above the land. Okay, you don't even control the land, and you're paying rent. And I go and then I can show where you didn't even sign as the grantee, or excuse me, meaning there's the grantor and the grantee. You didn't even accept the position of the deed, did you? No, you didn't. It's only a grantor's signature. You're not even a party to that contract. State puts in $10, pays the excise tax. You come in and you're paying property tax. You're agreeing to being a tenant or a tenant in common or an owner of air. Yeah, that's what a legal description is. You're the owner of air. Okay. And that's one of the things that we do at HISAdvocates is we help people convert their deeds to actual meets and bounds by gold, by hand, with the grantor and grantee signature on it, using the meets and bounds, which is actual description of land. And so we do things to help people um, take control of their existing deeds, meaning it's not too late. You can change an existing deed to a new deed where you are actually in control of the land underneath your house. Is that important? Heck yeah, it's important, right? And then how do you hold title? The joint tenant? No, it's fee simple. Go look at the definition of fee simple. It's absolute. It's like allodial. That's the best you're going to get right now, unless you want to put up a big fight. And it's a quick way for you to get things under control, where you are placed on the deed properly, where you are utilizing the land within the deed, where you're not bringing in Federal Reserve notes into the contract, where you're using um, uh, uh, buy gold by hand. You're not sending it through the United States mail. See, every component of every contract matters. If you're bringing in Federal Reserve notes into a contract, the United States is a party to the contract. You're bringing in a license into your marriage. The state is above the marriage. People, God, they have to think through. We weren't smart enough to think through in a lot of these things. So I'm trying to be very respectful and help people understand where we failed ourselves as the American people. And it's okay. We can fix this. We fix it with the Department of State status. We fix it with the IRS, SSA. You don't lose your retirement accounts. And we start, and we're shouting off the mountaintop right now because they're about to crash everything so that they can make this nation crumble and bring in the world order and give these quasi, hey, it's illegal to own guns. Hey, it's illegal to be free or have a free thought. And the free thought police are going to come and try to take you down. Pre-crime. You don't think that's an actual thing? Watch. Remember that Tom Cruise movie, Pre-Crime? That's legit coming. Legit coming. You are being arrested for the future murder of da da da. I'm like, well, what? There's a lot of people that sin right here that don't actually commit it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do it. So that's an amazing thing how they're going to try to figure out how to adjudicate that stuff. Anyway, next question. How do I operate in the public when I'm private? Okay, Ken, that's a fish this big. The knowledge. I always tell people this. I say 10% is our docs. 90% is me helping you to understand who you are as a person and changing that mindset of being a slave and changing that mindset of being negative over your life and changing that mindset of how you feel about police or how you feel about governmental agencies and just moving along in the ins and outs of private versus public. You can actually operate many things as a private citizen and still be private. You can actually hold things in your wallet, drivers, these things that make you feel like you might be public, but you're actually private because of the contracts that you've done and the contracts that you've unwound. But that question is a big fish, and it's a part of what we do with the VIP members at HISAdvocates. So when you join and you become a living in the private person, you're a VIP member, and we're doing your docs for you, and we're restructuring up and we're retraining your mind. As a matter of fact, we got quite a bit of people on both sides. I'm going to post a copy and just look at the names. Because we're helping people with cryptocurrencies, we're helping people with um how they deal with uh everything from improper things being done into their life, being brought in. We've helped people out of serving time on ridiculous things just by giving them the proper words to think and consider before the judge. Um, Many times. But my heart is, yeah, 10% getting those docs done, but I want to do the other 90%. I want to make Americans American again, and I want to get us out of feeling like we um, do not have rights, that we are not children of God with our rights coming from God. Those are all lies. What I just said was the truth. What is being spouted off is all lies, meaning from the governmental authorities. They want you to think you don't have rights. They want you to think your rights come from them. And they've adjusted scripture over time. The devil has, and I can prove this, to make people believe. And they've trained our pastors over time to make our pastors believe that they are to be subject to any form of human government, to be subject, even if the government is tyrannical, that you must serve them because that's God's judgment over people. I've heard all those ridiculously stupid, inaccurate statements. And we as a people are being told to come out. That means you can come out. You can get out. I want you to think about that one statement just for a second. You can get out. Um, if God says you can. Okay. Next question. Explain why we don't want to be registered voters. How do we vote for judges and other county matters on normal ballots? Well, there's going to come a time, because that's a really great question and it pisses me off. At the same time, not your question, but the fact that I don't really believe in the voting anymore. And I haven't for a long time. And let me explain my story. I owned a company with another guy called Netcha. National Electronic Clearinghouse, way back in 1996 or something. And we would meet with the guys that were like VPs of Diebold and different things. And these guys were powerful players. And they showed us 6 ways to Sunday that all their voting machines had 25 different holes and that the government wanted it that way. I'm like, okay, so since 1995, I thought that it was all a raunchy, whoever they wanted in office was going to get back in office no matter what. Well, it's been proven that, if you've ever seen 2000 Mules, it's been proven that these elections are being fraudulently held. Now, I don't know about at the local level. I would love to be able to vote in and out judges. I'd love to be able to do all that, but I think it's a bigger thing. The bigger thing is this, and just hear me out. The bigger thing is, what are you voting for and what kind of entity are they going to be presiding within? Are they presiding over the people or are they presiding over within a corporation? We need to replace the corporations masquerading as the de jure, and then we need to hold our own voting. And that I don't have the map to show you how that's laid out. I do know that the Republic for the United States of America has re-inhabited the Republic. I do know it's legit. I do know that it cannot be unerased. And I do know that we need to help the states and help the counties and help the townships turn back into the de jure form of government and start holding their own elections and kick the corporation out. That's the only way I would agree with 100% on voting, because you're going in and for example, you said judges, you're going in and you're hiring judges that are doing what? They're creating bonds against people, putting them in jails over statutes, codes, and ordinances that shouldn't apply to people like you and me. So why would I want to push that agenda? And so it's a very upsetting question, not because you've asked the question, it's because it's a very hard answer. We got to clean the whole system out. They took 12, 15, whatever, 100 years to go from 1776 to 1871 to start the corporation up, get the engine fully ignited, give it a place where it can operate, and then lay down the Congress. That was de jure, and then pick up the Congress that was de facto corporate Congress, no longer one for the people, but for the corporation. And then stole the gold, the land, the Federal Reserve Act, the everything, 1492. They took the land, not the year 1490, it's the House Resolution 1492, and HGR 192 were the bankruptcy of the United States. And they made all the people, the employees, after they bankrupted the United States. And knowing that they were going to do that, they turned all the US citizens under the Federal Trading with the Enemy Act, and they added the United States citizen to the Trading with the Enemy Act, because you were officially an enemy of the banks at that moment. And so it boggles my mind when you look at how they did it and how you became an employee of the corporation. And so why are we fixing voting in systems that have nothing to do with our freedoms as state citizens? Let's get the republic going in the towns again. Let's go to CSPOA and sit down and talk to sheriffs and say, you do have a dual oath. You have one to the state and you have one to the people, and the one to the state is not trumping the one for the people. The one for the people that are actually state citizens have a right under these laws, under these Supreme Court rulings, to travel freely without encumbrance and without a license in their wallet. And that's just unequivocal. And we can show you that in the United States Code, and not just Supreme Court rulings. That's your right to move freely on the highways and byways without a license. That's just well grounded. Doesn't mean I'm a sovereign citizen. It doesn't mean I'm a funky, long hair growing, beard burning my driver's license up in the mountains by a fire because I don't have a home. No, I'm Joe Sixpack American. I believe in this nation. I believe in our dreams. Now, hold on to that statement, because this is where we have to think through. Does that mean 300 million people should be driving without licenses? Would we look completely like a banana republic? I just think my problem with the license is it takes away the rights of the people. And instead of properly dealing with an infraction, you're spanking, you're slapping, you're costing a lot of money, and you're putting people in jail and you're bonding them. In this nation, there's more people in prison than in any nation put together. And that's something you really got to think about. 10-15% of the entire population is in a jail or a prison. Okay. So we have to change the way that we do things, and we have to think through. And my job stops for me, respectfully, at um, creating a state citizen and holding the office that I hold within the republic. I am trying to awake people. I'm trying to help them understand who they are. I'm trying to make men men again, and give them the case, the laws, the support, the passports, and restructure their contracts, because that's a full-time endeavor to free this nation. And so a lot of people have already done the work on the national level with the Republic for the United States of America. Now we're doing the work on the individual level. Do you know there's people in the Republic for the United States of America that don't believe, because they think that they got tricked into these adhesion contracts, that the jurisdiction is not warranted over them? I want to tell you right now, look at a warrant or indictment. Did that person not consent to those adhesion trusts, those adhesion contracts? Yes. Do they not have to agree to those? Of course they do. Doesn't matter. If you've consented to something for a benefit, you're done. You're 6 ways to Sunday done. So we have to consider that we have to come completely out, don't pledge another dime to the whore, and start living your life free. And that doesn't mean I'm some crazy up in the mountains. It doesn't mean I'm some weirdo. I can structure a business to be public or private and not have to pay a dime of tax. As a matter of fact, we have people walking into one of our members, telling me, you got to pay tax. I'm not even a client of yours. No, I do not. And single letters are wiping them out. You got to collect taxes on the products you sell. Who are you? Are you the Cosa Nostra? I mean, who are you? A criminal gang? Okay. No, you don't. You're not even contracted to them to be able to do that. And you got to make sure you got your lease right. You got to make sure that you've unwound the business. You got to make sure you've transferred in all the assets into this, because that's the only way you're going to get away with it. That's the future of doing business, is coming private. And we structure up a complete street side business, or a private, or a lawn care, or a whatever, to be private and not public. And that's the future, if you ask me, because there's going to be a complete division in this nation in very short order. Okay. Let me go to the next question. Do we have any members at HISA that is a member of PERS? Yes. Teachers, fire, police, yes. There's no way to withdraw my funds. That's true. Um, but that it would be illegal for the government to take them. Obviously, they don't get it. But do you know of any way to me protect my retirement, or take or assign it somewhere to my foundation, or question mark, question mark? That's a great question. Because my mom is on it. She's one of the teachers retired, getting a monthly. Um, I think it's CalPERS or CalSTRS. And here's what I know. There's people out there um, that are doing all kinds of weird things, that are willing to pay a sum of money based on your life right now and life expectancy right now, to maybe buy up a life insurance policy. I have not seen or heard or anything about PERS or STRS, but I would not put it beyond somebody. If you were to do some research, I wouldn't put it beyond somebody to want to make an offer to you up front for the value of the remainder amount of those payments. So great question. Not one of those real easy to answer questions because I haven't been down that road to determine that for people. But I just had a guy with a $2 million life insurance policy cash it out for 1.15 right now. Okay. Avoid taxes and private. Don't understand that question. Should I get an Illinois state ID card and just get rid of my driver's license, or should I keep the driver's license? I just wonder if it makes a difference. No, Terry, you've got a passport card, I'm sure. That's your ID. Um, there's coming a time where we're going to have to make a decision. Do we want to keep our license or do we want to get rid of it? And if they make a mandate to do something crazy, like, get something in my arm, I'm going to give it up and walk away from it because I've already canceled the contracts um, to a degree, but I'm going to completely give it up in a formal removal. And but the state ID is a contract. It's not relinquishing anything. It's just another contract that you would have to settle out. So to answer your question, I would just leave it alone because if you've sent in the driver's license docs, you're pretty dang well protected. What happens when the DOS denies you of a passport after applying with the HISAdvocates process? Um, Anonymous attendee. So the only people that well, I guess what you're saying is they shoot a letter out saying, no, we need this, no, we need this. There's sometimes 3 or 4 letters. Um, the only person that gets denied is somebody that has child support issues, really, and or very rarely large tax bills. But overall, that's not a real question for the majority of the members that are coming into HISAdvocates, like maybe 1 or 2. That's one of the things. So, but also remember, if you have a tax issue, or if you have child support issue, I would recommend still going through with it. Because we've had tax issues up to $1 million in liens, get a passport. Um, Post those regulations, post those rules being created. However, even if it gets denied, you can order certified copies from the Department of State of the application. And you can show through the DOS your intent, even though you don't have a passport issued. But we are working on things for people that have been denied that should not be denied based on statutes. We just don't have enough of them to make it a priority to push. But there's things to consider if that's an issue with you and you want to talk about it. Let us know. With the active state apostille, why is it important to name a non-Hague country just to because you can't get an apostille um, for a Hague country. It's that simple. Next question. Can I submit my private trust and letter to a county assessor requesting that their APN for my private property, currently raw land and about to build? Thank you. Tricia, that's one of those long, I have 100 questions for you. Like, what is the style of the deed that you recorded? Why do you owe any taxes on it? Do you owe any debt on it? If your deed is with Federal Reserve notes, the answer is no. If your deed shows a vesting of joint tenants in commons, the answer is no. There's a lot of, and people just say, oh, I just want to take my property out of the county. Well, how can you if you don't have a properly recorded deed showing you're the rightful owner and ability to do that? And do you want to take it out of the county, or do you just want to put it into a private foundation that is tax exempt and then try to get the state to stop billing you for taxes? Because if you show fee simple and you're doing meets and bounds and you're doing gold, and meaning the structure, the style, and you're doing an acceptance, post that you have being that it's in the foundation name now and you hold absolute title. um, there has been uh, county recorders on an automated basis because it is fee simple. to not tax that particular property. You can actually go into county recorders and look up old properties that are fee simple and see that they're not being taxed. That's why we choose that. So if it's being taxed now and then you put it in fee simple, now you got something that you can stop. You can have them stop with, or even do a notice of removal. But those are dialogues that are hours long, and we don't have a product for that because every county is different. Every county is a fight. Do you think they are going to want to give up the income from the property? No. Do you think they want to give up the jurisdiction rights over it? No. The answer is no. So you have to have the proper deed. You have to have a proper foundation, private. If for me, I wouldn't do a trust. I would do a foundation because now you're exempt from taxation, and that goes. The federal law trumps the state law, and that goes all the way down to the county level. But get out of, get your deed vested properly first. So give us a call. If you're living in the private program, we actually give you a copy of a template of a deed that you can use for your own. There's like simple, just fill it in, meets and bounds, put the information in. If you're living in the private program, we give you that for free. If you don't and you want us to do it for you, I think it's like $4.95. We just need you to get either the meets and bounds or the land description, and then we can help you with the transfer. And that at least starts the conversation with you being able to do what you're trying to get done. Next question. I went to H&R Block to get my taxes done. They told me that I owe $588. Do I have to pay this? If you've done a revocation of election, can I ask you why you've gone down to file taxes? That would be my question to you. Next question. Thank you, Logan. Appreciate that. I have a pastor friend that took over an existing 591c3, 501c3 church, and he's wanting to get out of the designation moves. Set up a call. I'll talk to him personally. I love talking to pastors. I just want to educate them, grab them, pull them in, get them noogied into the private side of instructing the people. But yeah, set it up with Kristen, and she will set up a meeting free. Just get it going. Are you stating you assist with doing a land contract? I have land contracts. I got certified copies of all grant deeds from the state, gifting it to the first owners to present me. However, there is a 15-20 year period where there was court docs were destroyed by fire. How would I cover that period? Sabrina, I'm not sure I understand the question. 15-20 year period. What are you trying to cover it for? I got certified copies of all the grant deeds from the state, gifting it to the first owners to present me. I don't understand what you're trying to say. Can you word it just a little bit different and come back with that same question? Thank you, Joe. I'm currently living in a private, working with the back office. He is awesome, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. We are working through the process. My question is, can you explain the IRS process as to employer-employee and how does that work? Joe, I've explained that process so many times. I am going to make sure Kristen gives you a link. Do me a favor, post that question in an email, copy that, paste it in an email to support@hisadvocates.org, and we will get you a few previously answered questions because that's a very detailed one. It probably takes a good 15-20 minutes to address. So we'll give you some videos to watch that will address that question. The bottom line is there's so many variables as to the style of the company, the size of the company, the person working in HR, all of that. But it is a good question. It is an important question, but we've answered it before, and I'll get you the links. Employer to employee, yeah, I'll get you the links. Would you use the foundation EIN and bank account to run a new business or set up a new LLC to use the foundation bank account. No, you can't do that. Um, I would never run any business through an LLC, C Corp, S Corp. Wouldn't do it. I would always utilize a private side, either unincorporated business trust, foundation, SSM, PMB, whatever, or PMA, excuse me, private membership association. I would not do anything registered. You don't really need an LLC except if you're trying to, you have a business license and you have some nuances that you want to talk about there. But John, you can be 100% private as a contractor, as a broker, and get stuff done through a private foundation. Where can I get these specific codes and information? Which codes? What are driving without your vehicle? What about driving without your vehicle registered? So, Tabitha, do you own your vehicle? Do you hold a manufacturer statement of origin from the manufacturer, and it's not a vehicle that was previously registered where the registration was acknowledged and paid by a previous owner or by you to the state? What I would say is if you have the MSO and that vehicle's never been registered, you have every right to travel around in that vehicle without tags. If you do not, and it's been previously registered, you will be pulled out of that car by your dreadlocks or blonde hair or whatever and treated horrifically because of your belief system. That is a contracted vehicle owned by the state. They don't have a right to do that, but you don't have a right to travel without it being registered because they own that vehicle. It's theirs. It's not yours. I don't care if you're holding a certificate of title. So I'm saying that very respectfully, not to put anybody down, because the belief system that we can not register something and that we can be private is ridiculous unless you are the owner of the vehicle and it is yours. Um, she owns it, and I have the MSO, bought it new in full. Awesome. So you can put a bond on it, you can get it insured, and you can put a little letter together. And I have the MSO on a motorcycle. I will never register it. And I will travel with dealer tags on it for as long as I can, and I will deal with that first law enforcement officer when I can or when it happens. But I'm going to have a driver's license. I'm going to have proof of insurance, and I'm going to give a copy of the MSO. He's going to give me a ticket saying you must register it. I'm going to uncontract with that ticket within 72 hours, but I'm going to be respectful and I'm going to get my butt out of there. I don't challenge law enforcement on the side of the road over a ticket for registration. You know what I mean? Hope that helps. Um, Part two, should I not get a construction loan? Can I only build with cash flow? The land is 6x value of what it was paid once we get city building permit. Another ridiculous number. Yeah, it is. Um, so you can get a loan, but if you know somebody that does private capital, do that because you're not funding the banks and funding the whore with private capital. You got a guy who's got a little more aggressive terms, but you can get it short term, get your build out done and pay it off. I just don't like doing loans with banks, and that's the only reason because we're enriching the banks. They're going to the birth bond from the Treasury through the Federal Reserve window and getting prepaid on everything you sign, just FYI. I don't like dealing with traditional loans. What do you suggest I do with 100K IRS debt? Um, if it were me, not giving any advice, I wouldn't give a dime if you were out of the system. So think about that. My 16-year-old son needs a passport. I'm trying to convince his mother we are not together to get him a passport as a state citizen instead of a U.S. citizen passport, but she doesn't want him to miss out on the benefits of college assistance, like simply don't understand the difference between the two. Could you elaborate on why it'd be a good idea to go the state citizen route at an early age? Sure. Um, my first question would be, does he have a social security number? Does he have a driver's license? Has he been employed before? Because those are all contracts that he would have to deal with, not just a passport. You understand? So, and between the ages of 16 and 18, to have him get a passport done, um, the mother can just sign off on the DS-11 without the explanatory docs behind it. Just show her the DS-11 here, and she's going to look at it, and she may not read it and just think you've got it done professionally, and she'll sign it. Um, I'm not saying deceive her, but if she is not in agreement with you and she's trying to put him into the belly of the beast and you're trying to pull him out of the belly of the beast, I think it's a worthy cause. And you're not hurting your kid by making him become a true American. You're not doing anything wrong. Um, and you're not lying. You're just leaving those docs over here and bringing her the DS-11 to sign with you so that you can present it. But there's something, Sean, there's something at 16 years old that I think, and I'm forgetting because it's been a while, but I think you can do it with one parent at 16. I think. Do me a favor, call the Department of State or ask our back office that question. I may be wrong, but it'd be beneficial for you to have that information and also realize I would help the kid out with the other docs, the drivers, the social, and all that stuff. But the problem is the kid, and he just wants to he wants to roll. He wants to get out there and drive. He wants to get out there and do those things that most kids do these days. And so you have to kind of wait till that maturity sets in a little bit. There's very few young kids that I know that get this. My own children are a perfect example of that, complete U.S. citizens, completely bound. And it's not because they didn't hear me my whole life talk on this, it's because that system is very compelling, and they want free this and free that and grants this and grants that. And I want to drive and they don't want to deal with and or come out truly until they see the corruption and understand law. But we can definitely answer that question. But I call the Department of State and just ask them. But otherwise, you can have the mom sign off on the DS-11. We can at least take care of the passport for your son. It's not going to put him in any danger whatsoever. If anything, it makes him not be the surety for the collateral, the debt of the United States corporation. That's absolutely what it does. Um, and then you take a second position, and I wish every mom knew that. You take a second position where you can help them with the social, you can help them with the driver's license, you can help them with future employment contracts and different things like that, and keep him going on and through and out. So like we teach kids certain elements of just how to sign the basics, signing cursive, non-assumptive. Don't use your actual signature on any document. If they decide to keep and or give you a contract to work, you're working under the assumption that you did not contract, because that's what non-assumptive means. Um, so, and another thing, Sean, if you need a phone call to her on a brief short, I'd be more than happy to explain that what is a U.S. citizen versus a citizen of a state and give the Supreme Court rulings to show the difference, because we're not doing sovereign citizen stuff here. We're just wanting to be private, not public. And that's the difference. One is a public person, another one is a private one of the people. And that's it. That's the only difference. And we just want to stay in operation of the private. We don't want to extend ourselves to the public side. We just want to continue to operate in the private. So, but if you need a quick phone call to help her understand, I'd be more than happy to. Next question. The adhesion contract process of restructuring that I began. I haven't completed 3 rounds of letters. Do I have to start over again, or can I just pick up from the second letter sent? Yeah, you can just pick it from the second, send the third. Is there a time frame period? There is, but it's not going to matter if you're giving them more time, which means it makes it a more solid, plausible argument that they had sufficient time to respond. So you're fine. Just send it off. Ask for an updated letter from back office. So you have the dates now. I trace all owners of my property and got certified copies of deeds. There's a period of some years, 1800s, where there was a fire in the courthouse. Some of the deeds were lost. How do I cover those missing deeds time period in order to file my public notice for 60 days to get my land contract? Whose process are you using? And can you please submit your docs to back office online on a support topic so I can see what do you mean by land contract? You mean land patent? Because that's a whole nother conversation. Okay. Let's see if we got any other questions. Hold on. Again, if you're coming in late or coming in now, post your questions to the Q&A. I'm going to go to the YouTube side. All my friends out there. Looking for questions. Good day. What's up? The Blacko. I know what you're talking about. I love you, brother. Use a new email and come on to our website if you have any issues. Kelly, you must open your freedom of speech. I got you, bro. um, just be nice. That's all we ever ask. And you got to remember something: freedom of speech doesn't happen within a private website. And that's the common thing. Most people are doing it like you listen to all these podcasts, and I have a right to freedom of speech under the da 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 da. No, you don't. You're in a private venue where you paid to come in and listen, or you've agreed to the terms at the door or the ticket that you're holding. That's the venue. Okay. You don't have any right to do anything to interrupt. You've agreed to be carried out by your hair and your legs if you interrupt. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of people don't understand, like, our website is private, it's not public. And so we make the terms. And it's not to inhibit freedom of speech. We make the terms. And so if there's anything that's going against or is offensive, we'll pull it out. And I don't mean to offend you by doing that. I'm just pulling it out because I don't want to have other people get offended by what you have to say. That's all. So if you, and I don't remember why, you maybe went through what you went through. So just try again, and let's hug it out. Let's be professionals and just be professional. And if there's something that we're against in what you're saying and it's public and it's not private, we'll hit you up about it. But I don't know what you're talking about specifically. I'm just kind of guessing as I'm answering here. I'm the only owner of my vehicle, but I cannot get an MSO or slash MCO. James, I know of a service out there. I don't know it personally. I do know it personally. I've been trying to track it down. But I had a client show me all these MSOs that she got. She was paying some guy $500 and he was getting copies of the MSOs. So it's out there. So just Google it, find it, dig it up, and then give the number and information to us so we can help people get their MSOs. But there's an element there that you need to address, and that is, how are you going to deal with the previously registered information? And it's a notice of removal, and it's some different things you got to do. If you're trying to unregister the vehicle, you know what I mean? Anyway, need I pay for a data dump for all the paperwork to try to understand it on my own before I ask for help? William, we've been asked that question. Why don't we make our docs available for free? I always tell people, if there's somebody else offering our docs, don't do it. And it's not because we're worried about the commission. I'm just going to say something that's going to sound mean, and I don't mean to sound mean. People need help. There are so many nuances to dealing with the State Department. There's so many nuances dealing with the different elements of your employer, the different elements, and you need a support system. Now, I'm seriously considering just doing a week-long seminar where we are able to print docs for people and walk them through a help system that they can pay very little for and get the support and get the training and get the knowledge and get it done. We're just not there yet because everything's changing. Like you have no idea how many times the DOS changes up on us. You have no idea how many times, you know, things happen that people are doing wrong and submitting things wrong, and they need help. They need help. And so, um, a lot of the people that are out there that followed down that secured party creditor process that was made available 10, 15 years ago and still being made available today, which I am not discounting. I've just never seen success as an SBC. I've never seen success as an American national. I've never seen success as a state national. I've never seen success with people that don't know how to fully come out and understand who they are as one of the people and be able to stand up for themselves. And so that having you do the docs on your own and what version of the docs. Um, some people are getting 2-year-old versions of the docs and they'll call us up for support. And we're like, we changed that. We changed this. We changed that. You need to start over. And there's reasons why you have to constantly advance and work through and changing docs to update against what they're doing statute code and ordinance wise. And so there's moves and counter moves that are always being made. And so you really do want a support system through it. We're trying to create an automated system that makes it extremely inexpensive for somebody to participate in. It's not easy because there's so many nuances to get it accomplished. I've been trying to get it done for 4 or 5 years, and it's not an easy thing to get accomplished, but we're close. So I hope that helps. Thanks, William. Um, Lance, send me the information on your last statement, Kelby at HISAdvocates.org, please, on the Vehicle. I'd love to see it. All right, guys. Let's see any more questions. So I got one more question in the Q&A. Hold on. Do I know blank blank who served writ quo warranto to the board of Maricopa and it went viral? Then the voter voted in the volunteers. I love that idea. And I don't know that person. Is that the blonde lady that is just sharp as all get out? If that is, let me know. Um, there's ways that we need as a people to do things that I don't know how to answer your questions. There's people within the republic that are doing things to help people on an individual county by county basis. Um, yeah, good it is that lady. Yeah, no, she's smart, man. Um, and she knows a lot, but she's not 100% flawless. If you know her, set up a phone call with me. I need to talk to her, not because of any other reason. I just want to perfect what she's doing on the private side. And I also want to make introductions to her to other people that we're bringing on board for enforcement, because there's things that can be done to enforce and take back what's been stolen. And we're going to be talking and having interviews on that stuff in the next couple of weeks. So God bless, guys, man. I really appreciate you coming on to HISadvocates and watching this training session and us being able to do the Q&A with you. We do this every other Monday, basically 4 p.m. Pacific. New living in the private members, existing living in the private members, all are welcome. And this is real. It's not fake. There is a thing called state citizenship. It's not state national, not American national. It's state of the union citizen. And you can get a passport, you can get identification, and you can be in the private, and you can restructure all those things that made you the surety and the collateral for the debt of a corporation that's being sold off by this administration right now. Protect your kids, protect your family. Give us a call at the below numbers. God bless you guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Remember Chuck Woolery, 2 and 2. Remember that?